My older brother ordered me to play the obedient, innocent boy, to lure his rival into falling for me. I cast a glance at Alex Ferrell. Fiery red hair, lean waist, arrogant swagger. Every inch of him screamed spoiled playboy, a reckless second-generation heir who lived for pleasure. He was notorious, flirtatious, unrestrained, impossible to please. But the bigger problem was my face drained of color. "Brother, I'm straight." Later, Alex Ferrell lounged back with a cigarette pinched between his fingers, his gaze lazy as smoke curled around him. Across his pale, sculpted thighs were rows of raw, swollen bite marks. His breath hitched as he lifted a leg to kick at me. "So this is your idea of straight?" His lips curled into a mocking grin. "Eyes going glassy the second you see me? Welcome to History Channel. Subscribe to follow all our latest adventures." Story begins. On the third night after returning home, my own brother ordered me to seduce another man. Dim light spilled across the leather booth tucked into the corner of the bar. In my mind, James Watson's instructions echoed from that morning. "Remember, Alex Ferrell likes them obedient. You've just come back from overseas, you're exactly his type." I was so furious I couldn't speak. "This is the grand business strategy you stayed up all night thinking of, brother?" I didn't even know what Alex Ferrell looked like. And just because my brother was jealous over a project, I was being shoved into this trap to lure in his rival? Worse yet, his rival was a man. My face drained of all color. "But I'm straight. This is repayment, Dustin Charles." James Watson slid a photo across the table. "If I hadn't protected you back in the Watson family, you wouldn't even be alive today. Alex Ferrell is nothing but a spoiled rich brat. Love means nothing to him, it's just a toy. I want you to make him believe. Make him fall, and shatter him completely." I looked down at the photo. A narrow waist, taut curve of hips, a face too pretty for his own good, and that flamboyant red hair. His grin toward the camera was wild, reckless. A bad man. One look and you knew he'd be trouble. "Can you do it?" James Watson asked. I pressed my lips together. No answer. The truth was, I wanted to say I couldn't. I didn't even need to dig deep for Alex Ferrell's reputation. One quick search turned up all the gossip. Mr. Ferrell attends gala with new companion. 10-day whirlwind romance ends, Alex Ferrell single again. An analysis of Alex Ferrell's ex-lovers. The common traits. All fluff. This man, heir to the Ferrell fortune, didn't care at all for the family empire. He spent his days in indulgence, decadent and promiscuous, changing partners like clothes. The only thing he had ever built for himself was a high-end bar, which he occasionally graced, usually to drink the night away with other spoiled heirs. Only recently had old Mr. Ferrell lost patience and handed Alex a small, insignificant project to bid on. Lost in thought, I caught sight of that blazing red hair under the lights at the bar. He lounged on a tall stool, long legs casually crossed, his tailored suit cutting a sharp, decadent silhouette. I swirled the liquor in my glass and stood. Same as usual. Negroni. Alex Ferrell leaned lazily against the counter, his voice smooth and careless. Brushing past his bright red hair, I slid onto the seat beside him. "Make me one too," I told the bartender, raising my glass. "First time here? Haven't seen you before." He turned, arching a brow, eyes glinting with mischief. Meeting his gaze, oddly enough, calmed me. James Watson was right. Alex was interested. "Just got back to the country," I said, lowering my voice, softening it to sound younger, more naive. "A friend told me this place had a good atmosphere." His lips curved, recognition flickering. "A returnee student? Architecture major. Took a year off to handle family matters." Half-truths make the best lies. In a world where everyone wears masks, why shouldn't I? "Got it." Alex suddenly reached out his hand with a crooked grin. "Alex Ferrell, owner of this bar. Heard of me?" I shook my head and took his hand lightly. "Dustin Charles. Am I supposed to have?" "Heh, don't go searching me up yet." His palm was hot against mine before he let go. "Follow your instincts. That first impression of me, that's what makes things interesting." I nodded. In truth, the impression had already formed. A reckless, shameless playboy. The bartender slid 2 fresh drinks toward us. Cheers. Alex clinked my glass. A good student like you shouldn't hang around bars. You'll catch the wrong kind of attention. As he said it, he tugged open the collar of his fitted jacket. No tie, just a glimpse of pale collarbone, sharp and tempting. His fox-like eyes narrowed, amusement dancing within. I had to admit, he was even more dangerous in person than in the photo. I smiled softly. With you watching over me, I feel safe enough. His eyes narrowed further. Just Alex. I took a sip, then murmured, Alex? His hand jolted. I caught the muttered, fuck, under his breath before he looked up again, ears tinged faint red, smirk lazy as ever. So, where are you staying? Riverside Apartments, for now. A bit too quiet though. Doesn't feel alive. He chuckled. What a coincidence. I've got a place there too. Come by if you get bored. Without waiting for a reply, he signaled the bartender. Make Mr. Charles here a first meeting. He turned back to me, smile all charm. On me. It's light. A toast to our first encounter. The cedar on his cologne, blended with the alcohol's bite, left my head swimming. His lips, those mischievous eyes, they made it seem like he looked at everyone with devotion. He waited, patient. No, thank you, Alex. I smiled gently, rising from my seat. I've had enough for tonight. Don't want to get drunk. His brow arched, and his fingers hooked briefly at my sleeve. Then at least give me your number? I brushed him off with my back turned. Let's leave tonight as our first impression. Save the next drink for fate. Behind me, I heard another quiet curse, followed by the sound of him downing his glass. I didn't look back. The next time I saw Alex Ferrell was a few days later. Restaurant. Window seat. The one overlooking the fountain. That was my brother's message. I glanced at the clock. 7:57 p.m. Alex should be arriving any minute. Rumor said he already had a new companion at his side, and tonight he'd be bringing him here. My brother pressed me to move fast, before anyone else snatched the chance. To him, I was nothing more than a pawn. At the entrance, a languid figure appeared, elegance wrapped in arrogance. Alex Ferrell strolled in with a slim young man clinging to his arm. He wore a black silk shirt, open just enough at the collar to reveal pale skin, his long legs carrying him with the ease of someone who owned the room. The boy at his side, soft brown hair and doe-eyed, leaned into him sweetly. The picture of obedience, though paling beside Alex's blaze. This spot was chosen special, Alex drawled, voice stretching into a lazy purr. Best view of... His words cut off abruptly. The boy blinked at him. Young Ferrell, what do you see? I lifted my head, feigning surprise, meeting those sharp, amused red-haired eyes across the room. Alex let go of the boy's arm and strode toward me, a grin tugging his lips. An unexpected face. You came alone? He asked. The moment I opened my mouth, a boy hurried over and cut me off. His gaze swept me up and down with open hostility before he clung to Alex Ferrell's arm, whining softly, Young Ferrell, the fountain show's about to start. Let's go. Alex's eyes lingered on his face for a few seconds. Then, with a sudden tug at the boy's wrist, he arched a brow. You head back first. But we just... Do I need to repeat myself? His hand released, his smile easy but edged with ice. The boy's expression shifted, then darkened. Straightening his sleeves, he stormed off in frustration. Too impatient. Too obvious. I thought, did he really think Alex Ferrell was some rich fool with money to burn? Mind if I sit here? Before I could reply, Alex had already pulled out the chair across from me and sat down. I don't mind, I murmured, lowering my gaze. What a coincidence, young Ferrell. His grin was careless, teasing. So you figured it out. It's only natural to be curious about Mr. Ferrell's identity, I said. I just didn't expect you to be part of the Ferrell Corporation. My words cut off as the waiter arrived with several dishes. Alex pushed back his chair as if to leave. Oh, seems my timing's unfortunate. Alex, stay. I stopped him gently, my lips curving into a tired smile. My friend canceled last minute, but I'd already ordered for two. I can't finish it alone. Heh. His gaze raked over me, amusement sparking low in his throat. Was that deliberate? An unfortunate coincidence. His glass clinked softly against mine. To the luck of coincidence. But coincidence, I thought, is a sly and gentle liar. He leaned back careless. Now that you know what kind of man I am, tell me. Has your perfect first impression shattered, little student? That red hair, untamed and wild, burned beneath the light. He didn't care what I answered. I nudged the plates closer to him and said honestly, a little. His eyes fixed on me. But the primacy effect will make me ignore it, I added evenly, holding his gaze. And you're no different. The primacy effect, the first impression that lodges in the mind, shaping every judgment that follows. Ah! He let out a laugh, defeated, glancing away. Dinner passed slowly, almost harmoniously. Between bites, he asked about my years abroad, and shared his own stories of traveling overseas. For a moment, he seemed less like a spoiled heir and more like a cultivated gentleman. Then he cut a piece of foie gras and held it out toward my lips. Try it. An intimate gesture. The test. I hesitated, then leaned forward and took the bite. The foie gras melted on my tongue. Good. His eyes darkened, grin reckless. You seem nervous. I nodded, brushing my fingers against the back of his hand. A swift motion. His grip closed around my wrist, hot and unyielding. He leaned over, staring down at me. Then you know my preferences. I'm single now. I looked up and smiled gently. Alex Ferrell, let go. His brow lifted, his grin deepening. After a pause, he released me. Fuck, you're treating me like a damn dog on a leash. I rubbed my wrist and shook my head. That's not my intention. I only want to deal with Alex as an equal. Then, Dustin Charles, his voice lowered, eyes glinting with heat, do you want to be my boyfriend? His gaze was heavy with charm, full of promise. Beyond the window, the fountain burst into a spray of color, like fireworks against the night. It was the perfect moment to accept a confession. One yes, and I would be his newest plaything. And in 2 months' time, discarded like the rest. Maybe James Watson would get his project. Maybe Alex wouldn't even blame me. But none of them had ever seen me as a person. Sorry, I said quietly. I don't like men. For the first time, Alex's eyes flickered with something raw, the realization of losing control. His finger tapped the table. Then he broke into laughter, shoulders shaking. Dustin Charles, give me a chance. Please. I'll make you like me. He slid his phone toward me. At least leave me your number. Call it mutual care. By the time I left, night had fallen. He offered to drive me home. I refused. Walking along the riverbank, the wind cold on my cheeks, my phone buzzed. A text from an unfamiliar number. Thanks for the invite tonight. Tomorrow's my treat. Are you free? That turtleneck looked good on you. Don't overthink, it's just a compliment. And true to his word, Alex began to pursue me. For half a month, his persistence never wavered. He didn't believe in patience. He'd never known a problem that money couldn't solve. Every day brought flowers to my door, designer shoes, even luxuries worth more than my yearly expenses. Invitations to dine at the same restaurant where we'd met. Even when I never gave a clear answer, he refused to give up. The scandal-ridden Playboy heir looked as though he'd actually given his heart to me. James Watson was pleased. With Alex so distracted, he had no interest in the bidding project. Everything was going according to plan. But me? I wasn't sure. Not about my heart. Not about whether this bond between us came from my deceit, or from something real. What are you thinking about? The familiar voice carried a hint of laughter. I stood at the entrance of an art museum, ticket in hand, turning as Alex approached. He wore a charcoal turtleneck beneath a long black coat, tall and striking as a model straight from a fashion spread. His red hair, now faded toward copper, was left unstyled, softening his edges. Less sharp, more human. Nothing, I said as he came closer. Just wondering if you'd be late. For you, I'd come an hour early. His brow lifted. Come on. Not many people today, we can take our time. I stepped forward, but when I glanced back, he was lingering. He stretched out a pale palm, grin wicked. Humor me, will you? Hold my hand. I'm begging you. Alex Ferrell seemed entirely at home here, guiding me with ease through the museum halls, his hand warm around mine, occasionally leaning close to murmur bits of background about each piece. Alex, do you come here often? I asked. His fingertip traced idle circles against my palm. When I was young, my mother used to bring me. She was a painter, and this was her favorite place. He paused. In his eyes, I caught a fleeting shadow. After she died, this became the only place I could still feel her. She never picked up a brush again after giving birth to me. I was the reason she gave up art. The sudden confession stunned me. I knew this was the perfect moment to pry deeper, to twist his heart into part of the scheme. But I wasn't shameless enough to turn this into another move in a con. I'm sorry, I whispered. He only shook his head, tugging me gently forward. Come on, I'll show you my favorite painting. His hand was hot, his skin pale and fine, like heated silk pressed against my own. For all his reckless beauty, the way he held me was soft. We crossed half the gallery before he stopped in front of a vast oil painting. The canvas was swallowed in darkness, but from the center, a single shaft of light pierced through clouds, illuminating a small patch of lake below. Loneliness and hope intermingled across the scene. Forget my opinion, Alex said with a sly smile. Do you like it? Yes. I answered quietly. I like this kind of night, dark enough to give people a place to hide, and because of that faint light, a path forward to hope. That had always been what I wanted for myself. How ironic. Alex let out a small laugh, his shoulders trembling. It's my favorite painting too, but I hate the night. His voice dropped, almost lost. When I was young, something happened. Since then, the night has only been darkness to me. No light. Let's go, Dustin Charles. There are better paintings ahead. Through the rest of the tour, his spirit dimmed. He no longer leaned close with a grin to whisper about the art. Instead, he drifted with the crowd, responding to me with perfunctory words. From all the intel James Watson had given me, from everything I'd seen of Alex myself, I had never witnessed this side of him. He had shed the bravado, the arrogance, left fragile, unguarded. Remember, he's still a bad man, I reminded myself, again and again. Outside, beneath the old locust tree, I sat him down on the bench circling its roots. Alex, are you all right? He tilted his head back to look at me, lips pulling into a roguish grin. What, worried about me? Yes. Now I stood while he sat. For once, I was the one looking down. For once, his emotions had nowhere to hide. His eyes flickered, stunned. Heh! A soft laugh slipped from him, and he turned away. Pathetic. I've really fallen into your hands. Dustin Charles, sometimes I envy you. What for? For being clean. His gaze came back to me, wet with a faint, dangerous tenderness. You carry something I can't name, something pure. My life's been lived in a place where no one tells the truth. Everyone around me has an angle. I always know what they're after. They never turn me down, never stop pressing closer. And yet, even when they're close enough to breathe my air, none of them ever hear me. You're different, Dustin Charles. You're like the light in that painting. The wind tangled his hair, softening his sharp edges. He looked younger like this, more vulnerable. The corners of his eyes burned faintly red. Damn it. What purity. Polite. I had none of that. I broke eye contact, irritation twisting in my chest, and tried to walk away. He grabbed my sleeve. Looking up at me, his copper hair clung to his damp skin, his wild eyes shimmering with something broken. Kiss me. Please. I grabbed his collar, tangled my fingers in his hair, and bit down on his lips with savage force. This kiss wasn't anything like I had imagined. It was rough, almost violent, my teeth cutting into his lip until I tasted blood. Metallic and hot, it flooded between our tongues, silencing everything. A muffled groan broke from him, startled at first. But then, his arms rose, locking around my neck, his body arching against me as he kissed me back deeper. His pale throat stretched, his slim waist pressing into my hold. I dug my fingers cruelly into that waist. Ah! He flinched, trembling. I didn't even know why I was angry. Angry that he showed weakness, using fragility as leverage. Or angry at myself, pretending sincerity when it was nothing but a lie. His eyes were already wet, blurred at the edges. And when he tried to chase the kiss, I pulled away. Breathless, chest rising and falling, he stared at me. Then suddenly his gaze steadied. Be with me, Dustin Charles. I wasn't a good man before. But this time I mean it. You can say anything, do anything, I'll take it. I like you. I stood in silence. When he read my face, he gave a crooked smile, lit a cigarette between two fingers, and exhaled smoke like it meant nothing. If you don't believe me, forget it. Go home. My throat felt parched, words sticking. Depends on what you do next, I finally said. If you stay the same spoiled, useless playboy, then forget it. That wasn't the answer I was supposed to give. I should have just said yes. Alex blinked, then laughed. A laugh from deep in his chest, rich with something like joy. Dustin Charles, he rose, brushing his fingers along my ear, lowering his voice. Then watch me. The lit end of his cigarette pressed briefly against my chest, his eyes dark, smile tilting. I'll make sure you can't say no. 3 days later, at a charity gala. I arrived half an hour early, but the hall was already alive with chatter, light glinting from chandeliers and champagne towers. Men and women moved gracefully through the crowd, every one of them dressed to dazzle. Mr. Charles, a waiter murmured, young Ferrell is making the final preparations. Please, take your time. Meet some friends. I nodded. I didn't know these people. And they didn't know me. My father despised my mother, and because of that, I grew up unloved. A sacrifice caught in the endless blood feud within the Watson family. James Watson had been right. If it hadn't been for the protection of the eldest son of the Watson family when I was young, one of my uncles would have had me killed long ago. Later, my mother took me away, gave me her surname, and I drifted from the Watsons. Now I was back, for the matter of succession. My father's health was failing fast, and the boardroom had erupted into chaos over who would inherit the Watson Corporation. James and my second uncle had torn their masks off completely, too busy fighting each other to spare me a thought. Still, as his blood son, I had been summoned home. Glasses clinked, voices rose. People approached me with smiles and toasts. I answered each politely, then quietly retreated to a corner near the display stage. At the center of the hall hung a large, faded photograph. A gentle woman smiling softly, cradling a 5- or 6-year-old boy. The boy's grin was bright, full of life, so unlike the rakish, decadent man Alex Ferrell had become. The Ferrell Corporation Foundation. Young Ferrell is here, someone shouted. Heads turned as the doors swung open, revealing the long stride of tailored legs. Alex Ferrell entered in a perfect black custom suit, the cuffs and collar embroidered with subtle dark patterns. His hair was dyed back to black, slicked immaculately from his forehead, sharp brows revealed under the lights. It was nothing like his usual careless, decadent self. He walked toward the stage with composure, bowing slightly in greeting. Holy shit, did young Ferrell turn over a new leaf? Someone whispered nearby. I thought he wouldn't even show up. As murmurs spread, Alex's gaze swept the hall, then abruptly caught mine. His eyes narrowed in sly amusement. Raising his glass, he mouthed 4 words across the distance. How did I do? The whole night, Alex handled the guests with astonishing ease, polished and smooth, a master of the room. Now he stood delivering the closing speech, shoulders squared under the black suit, bow tie straight beneath his throat, every inch of him austere and commanding. Even the long fingers gripping his notes carried an almost ascetic restraint. And I couldn't help but wonder, was his usual reckless playboy mask the truth? Or was this the real Alex Ferrell, hidden beneath? If it was a mask, could I ever walk away untouched? Tonight we raised $35 million, all of which will be directed toward the education of children in poverty-stricken regions. He bowed lightly. The applause thundered. As guests began to leave, a hand seized my wrist. "Brother!" I turned, meeting James Watson's shadowed stare. He yanked me behind a marble pillar, voice pitched low and hard. "Look at the mess you've made. I told you to break him, to ruin him, not to turn him into a golden boy." "A charity gala?" His laugh was sharp. "What's next? Winning my project bid to keep you happy?" "James," images of Alex flickered through my head. I lowered my gaze, pried at his fingers. "I never thought this was the way to go. Too immoral. Too heavy. Dustin Charles, you've let yourself get caught, haven't you?" James snarled, shoving at my hand. "I wanted profit, not romance. You can't even manage that? Useless." I understood. He was in the middle of a war with our uncle, and if I failed to deliver on Alex, he would do as the Watsons had always done, throw me back onto the altar as a sacrifice. Yes, once he had shielded me with a brother's instinct. But now we were grown. Affection had long since been reshaped into cold calculation. "I know what I'm doing," I said quietly, breaking free of his grip. "To make him love me, I have to be different from everyone else." Everyone pushed him down. I would pull him up. "That way, he'll never forget me." James sneered, then turned on his heel and left. I leaned back against the pillar, exhaling long and slow. "Found you." Alex's voice came from behind. The top floor of the hall was a private suite, set up like a hotel room. Alex lounged on the sofa, shrugging out of his jacket, tugging his bow tie loose. His collar gaped open, a glimpse of collarbone beneath. Now he was caught between the disciplined man downstairs and the careless flirt I'd always known, an in-between that was dangerously magnetic. "My little hideaway," he drawled, curling a finger to beckon me. "After every gala, I come here alone. But tonight's different. I've got you." I sat beside him, glancing at the tastefully furnished room, the city lights glittering through the window. "So," he asked with a grin, "tell me, did I pass? I've been keeping myself in check, drafted my own reports, wrote my own speech. Nearly killed me, pretending to be serious. Dustin Charles, don't you ever get tired of being this gentle all the time? Boys. Especially when it was just an act." But I only smiled softly, shaking my head. "I'm used to it. So no. You were impressive tonight." I was proud. He laughed low, sipping amber liquor, wetting his lips. "Then how about a reward?" I leaned closer, ready to kiss him, only for his finger to press against my lips. "Not that. Not yet." His smirk curved wickedly. "I want your answer. Dustin Charles, can I be official?" His dark eyes glittered, reflecting me perfectly. I threaded my fingers through his black-dyed hair, murmuring, "Yes." Joy broke across his face. He pulled me down into a fierce kiss, gasping against my mouth as he asked, "What did James Watson tell you?" My hands froze. I pulled back, stunned. He'd heard? But he tugged me down again, hands firm on my waist, fingers brushing my wrist. "Why the scared look? I saw him grab you earlier. The moment I walked up, he left. Was he bothering you?" Relief washed through me. I blinked, then nodded. "Yeah. I don't even know him. I told him off and he left." "Fuck." Alex cursed, brows furrowed. "On my turf and he dares touch you? Dead man walking." The tension broke and I laughed. My own brother had been using me, and I had been scheming against Alex. Yet somehow, Alex felt like the kindest one of us all. "You can still laugh?" Alex pouted dramatically, tugging at my shirt hem. "I'm dying of jealousy over here." Before I could respond, he leaned in, pressing a careful kiss to my lips, soft, tentative, like a puppy licking for affection. I hesitated for only a moment, then gave in. The kiss deepened, shifting into something heavier. My fingers slid along his waist as he fisted my collar, pulling me closer. I pressed him down beneath me, loosening his tie in a gesture meant to soothe, whispering between shallow breaths, "Let me make it up to you." His hand caught mine, his eyes hazy. "Do you even know what you're doing?" I froze. "What? You don't know a damn thing and you dare tease me." Alex Ferrell's gaze raked over me, his lips curling suddenly into a smirk. Then I'll take care of you. First time, it might hurt, but I'll try to be gentle. As he tugged at my shirt, I stammered out, then, I want to be on top. I've always been afraid of pain, Alex. That part was true. No matter how many beatings I'd endured as a child, I'd never grown thick-skinned. Pain was still something I couldn't bear. Fuck. His hands stilled, his eyes darkening as he cursed under his breath. Fine. You win. You do it. He flopped back, giving me a look of deliberate surrender. Just go easy. It's my first time too. I'm not fond of pain either. Tentatively, my hand slid down his thigh, clumsy, uncertain. Alex, teach me. Color flared across his cheeks instantly. He kicked at me lightly, glaring. You think that's something I can teach you right now? Christ. He sighed, resigned, and hooked his foot around my side. Shower first. Then use your hand. Damp breaths tangled between our mouths. I reached for the switch, but Alex's trembling hand stopped me. Don't turn it off. His eyes were rimmed red, his voice stiff as he turned his head aside. I hate the dark. Alex Ferrell. I lifted his leg onto my shoulder, my voice low and steady. Do you love me? Yeah. I love you. I bent to press a kiss to the pale skin at his thigh, whispering, will this feel good for you? His leg twitched, trembling. Shit. Alex covered his eyes with a hand, breath ragged, swearing between gasps. Could you stop asking so much? I'm sorry. My fingertips dug into the softness of his thigh. My voice dropped to a murmur. I'm sorry. The night blurred. I didn't know when I finally collapsed into sleep. When I woke, the sun was high, 10 in the morning. I remembered him downstairs at the gala. Sharp in his black suit, every trace of recklessness stripped away. Refined. Regal. And then upstairs, the room blazing with light all night long, his clothes scattered across the floor, only a tie still hanging crooked around his neck. Head buried against my shoulder, muttering curses as he twisted and gasped beneath me, voice hoarse and raw. Brat. That voice echoed now at my ear. At first, I really thought you were just some obedient little exchange student. Alex was already awake, lounging lazily against the headboard, a cigarette balanced between his fingers. His long legs were crossed, his thighs pale and firm, marred all over with swollen bite marks. It was hard to look away. A sharp kick nudged my waist. He glanced at me through the smoke, lips quirking. This is what you call not liking men? Straight. Eyes go blank the second you look at me? Maybe because our relationship had shifted, his words had grown sharper, unapologetic. But I didn't mind. I leaned in and pressed a kiss to his eyelid, murmuring softly, Alex? The intimacy of it froze him, his body stiffening. Then he shoved my face aside, eyes ducking away. Too early for you to be seducing me. The next month passed like a dream. Alex always found time to whisk me off, to hotels on the edge of a city, to my apartment by the river, but mostly to his villa. I cooked while he tried, and failed, to fry an egg, swearing when he burned it black. On lazy days, when I didn't want to move, he stayed curled up with me on the couch, watching movies until night. Bedroom, kitchen, bathroom, sofa, floor. He taught me with his own hands how to please him, only to scold me afterward for leaving everything a mess. He'd kick me toward the cleaning supplies, only to drag me back, cheeks red, muttering that he'd do it himself. His vanishing act, for a whole month, set gossip alight. Threads sprang up, speculating who had captured Mr. Ferrell's heart. Old exes resurfaced in rumors. Alex just snorted, tossing his phone into my lap. Obvious, idiotic ploys. They really think I won't retaliate? Pathetic. Dustin Charles, you're the only one who insists staying low-key is better. The rest would sell their souls to make me tabloid fodder. It's different, I told him. Yeah. He smirked, lounging across the bed in nothing but a towel. We're different. We're real. They don't get to say otherwise. Neither of us had ever learned how to love properly. So we kept saying it out loud, clumsy and childlike, cutting our hearts open just to show each other. 1 week before the bidding, I was in the study reading when his chin landed on my shoulder, warm breath against my neck. Plans for today? Alex murmured. With you. I closed the book, hesitated. Alex, I want to ask you something. He sat down beside me, instantly attentive. What is it? Next week. Will you come with me to see City? My voice softened. I need to sort through my mother's belongings. I want to take you to meet her. It was true. It was the second reason I had come back. After her divorce, my mother had lived alone in Sea City until her death 2 months ago. A seaside town, warm and unhurried, the kind of life she had always longed for. I'd gone to her grave the day I returned. But the Watson mess had pulled me away. I still hadn't put her things in order. Alex's expression gentled. His hand cupped my cheek. When? Leave on the 25th. Back by the 28th, I said. Time's tight, I've got obligations after. I didn't spend much time with her growing up, then went abroad. I never thought our reunion would be like this. He lowered his gaze, scrolling absently on his phone. Do you have other plans? I asked. October 27th, the bidding conference. Every candidate had to be present, or their proposal would be void. He shut off the screen, tone flat, like he was only talking about dinner. No. I'll buy the tickets. A heaviness pressed on my chest, like a hand squeezing hard. You're lying to me. My voice was steady. Tell me what you're hiding. His eyes flicked up, then he forced a crooked smile. 2 months ago, the old man dumped a project on me. The bidding's on the 27th. I was going to finalize the paperwork this week. Forget it. He never expected me to deliver anyway. Honestly, I planned to half-ass it. But then, after meeting you, I thought maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should prove I'm not just a useless playboy. That I can be more, for you. You do things with such care, Dustin Charles. Being with you changed me. See that, James Watson? You thought pushing me toward Alex Ferrell would make him an easy mark. Instead, you've only made it harder. Alex looked straight at me then, gaze clear and solemn in a way I hadn't seen before. Anyway, this time let me come with you. No refusing. When I looked away from him, Alex Ferrell slipped right back into his rakish grin. He pinched my chin, forcing my gaze up. Tell me about your mother. What was she like? What did she love? Do you think she'd accept me? Damn, I'm nervous. If she doesn't, I'm done for. My lashes trembled. I dropped my gaze, silent. Hey, don't cry. His eyes widened. In a panic, he brushed at the corners of my eyes, cupping my face as he rushed to reassure me. Anyway, I'm sure my mom would have loved you. You've got that artistic air, you look sweet, your temper's good. If she were alive, she'd probably beg to make you her godson. A laugh broke out of me, shoulders shaking. I've seen your childhood photos. Back then you looked so well behaved. I can almost hear you calling me Brother Dustin Charles in that soft little voice. We cried and laughed in the study, until neither of us remembered the question left unanswered. The next day, James Watson learned of my plan. Surprisingly, he stayed calm. He only said flatly, Dustin Charles, if I were you, I wouldn't make myself this vulnerable. Don't pin your hopes on Alex Ferrell indulging you. That's because I know he will, I replied. It's the gentlest solution. James rose, never meeting my eyes. Not your fault, you've never dealt with this. If gentleness worked, the Watson family wouldn't be tearing each other apart over inheritance. He brushed past me, throwing over his shoulder, do it cleanly. Once you're back, you're done. I don't need to help scheme against our uncle. He shot me a look, lips curling. No. At last, my heart settled. The farce was nearing its end. On the 25th, when Alex and I boarded that train, my mission would be finished. After that, I'd take him to the seaside cemetery, introduce him to my mother as my boyfriend. Then, on a clear afternoon, I would confess properly and tell him I love you. Whether he accepted or grew angry, I wouldn't deceive him anymore. Until the stormy night of the 24th, when my phone rang. It was Alex Ferrell, calling from a party. Past midnight, rain streaked against the windows. He had gone to a friend's gathering. I was at home, picking out hotels in Sea City. When I answered, I thought he'd just be checking in. But the moment I heard his voice, I froze. It was broken, jagged, his breathing uneven. Dustin Charles, behind me, so cold? His voice trembled, unsteady, on the verge of breaking. Alex Ferrell? My voice sharpened as I grabbed my coat and bolted out the door. Where are you? What happened? I thought it's dark, the door's locked. He gasped between words. That bastard drugged me. I grabbed him by the throat, he ran, locked the door behind him. Listen, Alex. I'm on my way. Right now. I forced calm into my tone. Breathe. Deep breaths. A crash thudded through the phone, followed by his harsh panting. Doesn't matter, doors dead bolted, too dark. Dustin Charles, I'm scared. Please. Look at me, I said suddenly. What? Imagine I'm beside you. Just dark between us. This is an ordinary night at my place. Power outage. We're curled on the sofa. My hands over your eyes, waiting for the lights to come back. Don't be afraid. We're just talking like always. Tell me about today. The beach festival at Sea City starts soon. The day after tomorrow we'll go together, okay? Rain battered the city. The driver screeched the car to a halt at the hotel entrance, tires screaming. For a moment, I couldn't even hear his voice. Thank God he told me the venue earlier, otherwise in his state, I might never have gotten an answer. I ran inside. The hall was empty now, littered with the wreckage of the party. Rainwater dripped from my soaked pants, staining the gleaming floor. Alex Ferrell. I shouted into the phone. I'm in the lobby. Can you hear me? A muffled reply, no. I bit down hard, cursing, sprinting through the corridors. The staff couldn't pull the cameras fast enough, but they promised to send attendants to search the floors. I tore through the main hall, down each corridor. Nearly the whole floor searched, until I turned into a narrow side hall, and his voice burst frantic from the phone. Closer. I hear you. Thudding blows echoed from a small door at the end. I flagged down a staffer, urging him to fetch the key. I crouched, pressing my hand against the door, voice hoarse. Alex, are you okay? Through the wood, through the phone, came the faintest whisper, I hear you. I hear you. The staffer hurried back, keys rattling. The door swung open. A narrow storage room, cluttered with cleaning supplies and broken furniture. Alex Ferrell was crouched against the wall, shirt wrinkled, face pale, sweat dripping. The sudden light made him flinch, hand flying up to shield his eyes, his whole body trembling. I waved the staffer away, kneeling in front of him, carefully touching his shoulder. In the next instant, Alex crashed into me, knocking me back against the door. His body was ice cold, breath jagged, fists clutching my clothes. He buried his head against my shoulder, gasping. It's okay, Alex. I'll take you home. Can move the legs. His voice was muffled against my shirt. Rain roared outside. In the cramped dark, our bodies tangled close, breaths and heartbeats pressed together. For once, stripped bare, there was no more deception between us. This time, more than ever. My mom died on a night like this, Alex whispered haltingly against me. Dark everywhere, rain so loud no one could sleep. When it stopped, dawn came. She closed her eyes and never opened them again. His fingers curled carefully around mine. Stay with me, Dustin Charles. Don't leave when the rain stops. Okay, I said. By morning, disaster had struck. Social media exploded with headlines from the party. Ferrell Heir accused of violence. Alex Ferrell assaults after failed advance. Why did Peter Gold provoke him? Hashtags filled every trending page. I tapped the post open. It was a clipped audio recording, the background loud with shoving and voices, followed by a man's ragged breathing and a single barked word, get out. The attached photos showed bruises on Peter Gold's neck, red scratches raked down his arm. The caption sobbed through text, accusing Alex Ferrell of cornering him at last night's party, coercing, threatening, then lashing out violently when Peter resisted. The post had gone up at 3 a.m. Alex's reputation as a playboy had been painted bold across the public eye for years. By dawn, the tide had turned to outrage. It was calculated. A pen dipped in malice, sharpened with intent. Alex texted me, "Don't worry. I'll take care of it." But I knew, even with holes in the evidence, the flood of public sentiment struck like a sucker punch. This wasn't just Alex who would take the hit. The Ferrell Corporation itself would reel from the blow. Hard not to suspect a rival had orchestrated it. The entire morning, rumors poured out, half-truths, lies, names both real and fabricated. The Ferrell Corporation's official account was buried under abuse until their PR team released a stiff, formal statement. That was when my phone rang. James Watson. Seen the headlines? His voice was cold. Before I could answer, he continued, "This way, he'll be too busy putting out fires to care about anything else." "It was you, wasn't it?" My words were flat. "You didn't trust my plan. You kept your own card up your sleeve." Whether or not Peter Gold's attempt succeeded, the situation had been twisted perfectly to this outcome. Even Ferrell Corporation's shares would bleed. And 3 days from now, the bid meeting loomed. "Dustin, I've always kept the odds in my own hands," James said, a faint laugh in his voice. "Letting feelings steer you, that's a businessman's greatest sin." My chest heaved. I clenched my teeth. "You call this strategy?" "You nearly..." My voice broke. "What? Alex Ferrell? What about him?" "Nothing." I forced the words out, toneless. "It's over, James. I'm not your puppet. Consider my debt to you repaid." He gave a short, cutting laugh. "Fine. Then take this as my last gift. Good luck." The line went dead. I collapsed back onto the sofa, dragging a hand down my face. Outside the window, the sky was still gray with rain. It hadn't stopped. Maybe I'd be going to Sea City alone. A knock rattled the door. I trudged over, heavy-limbed, and opened it. Alex Ferrell stood there. Black clothes plastered to his tall frame, black hair dripping wet. He looked lean, forlorn, almost pitiful in the rain. I forced a smile. "Alex, what brings you here now?" He lifted his eyes, lips curling into a faint smile that never reached them. His gaze was ice-cold, hollow. His brow arched. "Aren't you going to let me in, Dustin Charles? Or should I say, Dustin Watson?" He yanked an envelope from his coat and hurled it at me. Photos scattered across the wet floor. Shots of me with James Watson, taken from sly, damning angles. At a cafe, talking. Later, a few more of us together. Stacked on top of each other like evidence. "Didn't you say you didn't know him? Didn't you say he harassed you?" Alex's voice was low, cold. "Turns out you've been brothers for over 20 years. And me? I'm just the fool. The outsider. Kept in the dark. Dustin Charles." His grip clamped around my wrist, eyes dark as stone. "You really outdid yourself." I laughed once, hollow looking down. The absurdity stung. "James Watson, my brother, you truly outdid yourself with this parting gift." And Alex's fingers clamped around my jaw, trembling hard enough to hurt. His usually soulful eyes burned cold enough to drown. "Did you think I was a dog? Low, worthless, a toy for you to use? Was it James who sent you? To humiliate me, to mock my weakness, to strip me bare and then hand everything back to him? You knew about today's scandal, didn't you? You were part of it, weren't you?" He pressed closer and closer, until our foreheads almost touched, breath mingling. The distance we used to close for kisses. But now the ruin of the night seeped into me like the rain. "Alex, do you believe me?" My lashes lowered. "I didn't do this. I didn't know." I think I cried, because I saw a tear fall onto his finger, and he jerked back as if burned. "I was going to tell you everything in Sea City," I whispered. "And last night, I was real. Don't you dare bring up last night." His voice cracked, breaking into a roar. "When you held me, what were you thinking? I gave you my heart, and you had your fun, didn't you?" His voice shook. It felt like we were back in that dark, cramped storage room, rain hammering outside. Sea City was a lie too, wasn't it? Just another ploy for the bid. All that crap about the beach, your mother's things, taking me to meet her, that was just bait for my soft spot, wasn't it? He laughed bitterly twice. "No." My voice rose sharp. "It was real. I meant it. I never schemed against you." Fine. His tone softened suddenly, almost gentle. His eyes locked on mine. Then tell me, Dustin Charles, was our love coincidence? Or was it your plan? Tell me. His gaze burned with the same desperate plea as that day outside the art museum, begging me for a kiss. As if my answer alone could wash everything away. But I stayed silent. I see. Alex turned, his voice nearly drowned by the rain. We're done. Please, just let me go. The rain never stopped. Sea City smelled of salt and sea. The sun broke golden across the water, staining the waves. The cemetery sat on the outskirts, facing the ocean, washed in sunset light. I knelt before my mother's stone, brushing the dust from her name. In her photo, she was smiling, radiant. Wrinkles fanned from the corners of her eyes. Except for the illness that had hollowed her cheeks, she was exactly as I remembered. It's been a while, Mom, I whispered. I tied the little wind chime from her doorway to the pine beside her grave. She had always been gentle, always yearning for freedom. Among her things were stacks of postcards, albums of landscapes, and the thick bundle of letters I had mailed home. People always said I wasn't like my father, cold, calculating. That I was like her, gentle, steady. But she was far braver than me. She had carried me away from the Watson family's shadow. And I, Dustin Charles, was nothing but a coward, a fraud. Last semester you asked me how I was doing. If I was happy. I laid my palm flat against the stone. I came back and I met someone. For the first time I tried to love. I wanted to bring him to you. But he found out what I really am, a liar through and through. The words ached, sticking in my throat. Like a fool caught under a spotlight, judged, stripped of excuses. I wanted to say I never plotted to hurt him. I never toyed with his feelings. But the words wouldn't come. The moment I met Alex Ferrell, I should have braced myself for exposure. But his open, reckless love had made me forget. What should I do, Mom? I pressed my forehead against the cold stone. He hates me now. Truly hates me. The wind stirred the pine branches, the little chime tinkling faintly. No reply. I should have known. Losing the one you love feels like rain that never ends. By the time I left the cemetery, dusk had already fallen. Walking down the road at the edge of the city, the sunset stretched my shadow long before me. For 13 years as Dustin Watson, I lived small, lonely, fearful, never daring to want love. Even after becoming Dustin Charles, I still never felt worthy of it. That was when the glare of headlights flared suddenly to my side. I froze and turned just as a black van shot out from the corner, accelerating straight at me. It was a blind spot on the road, yet the van made no attempt to brake. The license plate had been deliberately obscured. It was meant for me. The only two people who hated me enough, who knew I was in Sea City, flashed through my mind. Instinct took over before my brain could catch up. I dove to the side, but the van was too close, too fast. I could hear the tires grinding like a pump sucking air. He wanted me dead. Bang. The impact cracked the night. I shut my eyes. The last thing I saw was a silver sedan swerving hard into the van's side, slamming it with brutal force. Metal shrieked. The van veered off course, scraping my clothes as it spun out, crashing into the brick wall at the roadside. I hit the ground, gasping, stunned by what I'd just witnessed. The van lay crumpled against the wall, tilted on its side. The silver sedan blocked the intersection, its front crushed, airbags burst. The passenger door was dented inward, glass shattered everywhere. My stomach hollowed out. I scrambled forward, yanking open the driver's side door. A man stumbled out, blood slicked down his left arm, chest heaving. He lifted his eyes to me. Alex Ferrell. Alex! My mind went blank, panic spiraling. I hadn't imagined seeing him here, had no words ready. My hand hovered over his shoulder, frozen an inch away. Why are you in Sea City? Are you all right? Do you still hate? Shut up. He slammed the car door, grabbed my collar and snarled, "Do you even realize you almost died just now? Idiot, asking if I'm all right?" His voice frayed, softening as he slumped against me, his breath harsh and broken. His chest burned hot against mine, his blood soaking into my shirt. A horn blared. Another car had stopped nearby, a driver rushing out to call the police. As I explained what happened, Alex called his people at Ferrell Corporation, ordering a full investigation. "I know who it was," I said. "James Watson. For the inheritance." "Fuck, Dustin Charles, your heart's too damn soft." His gaze pinned me, dark and heavy. "You knew, and you still went out here unguarded?" I'd expected James to punish me, yes. But not to kill his own brother. Not like this. "And you?" I asked hoarsely. "Why did you come here alone?" Alex looked away, swallowed hard. "I came to settle with a little liar who ran off. Who knew without me he'd almost die out here." His voice shook. Police and paramedics arrived. Alex's wound was wrapped and bandaged, thankfully minor. After statements, we were free to leave. The van's driver stayed in hospital with a broken leg. The officers told us Alex's crash would likely be ruled an act of necessary defense, with no civil liability. It had all happened too fast, too sudden. By the time we left the station, night had fallen. But my heart was still caught in that moment. The burn of headlights, the shriek of metal. Alex had said I almost died. But when the crash rang out, all I could think was, what if the one who saved me died instead? At a quiet street corner, I said softly, "Alex, are you free tomorrow? Can we talk?" His mouth curved faintly, eyes dark. "Didn't I tell you? We're done." I nodded, bowing before turning away. But his hand caught my wrist. "Heartless little liar," he muttered, yanking my hand down against his waist, pressing lower. "I saved your life. Pay me back, in bed." Madman. Alex knew I wouldn't refuse him, not out of guilt. He shoved me onto the mattress, straddled my lap, holding my legs still, insisting he'd teach me a lesson. His arm was injured, his strength uneven, but I obeyed him anyway. Our bodies remembered too much. The frantic way we clung to each other. Was it days of longing, or his anger, or both? He knew exactly how to unravel me. Pleasure ran sharp and electric through me, his voice breaking raw and breathless at my ear. The more I whimpered, calling his name, the rougher he became, as if he truly wanted to break me. I looked up into his eyes, half-lidded, glimmering like a sated cat, and whispered, "Alex, do you hate me?" The first time I had asked if he loved me. How bitter the symmetry. His body flinched, just once, before he crushed his mouth over mine, harsh and silencing. "Shut the fuck up. Don't ask." He had said the same thing once before. 4 days later, the accident report was released. The van driver, a local from Sea City, claimed he'd been drowsy and panicked, hitting the accelerator by mistake. He was punished accordingly. But we both knew the truth. Alex only told me not to worry, that he'd handle it. "Boarding pass is ready," he said casually one evening, strolling over. "Thanks, Alex." I took it. "You didn't have to." "I had to make sure you leave safely," he cut me off. "When you land in London, one of my men will be there to pick you up." All right. I'd planned to finish my year abroad, but now, after everything, it was safer to go back early. Alex was right. James Watson wouldn't stop. Since that night, Alex and I had settled into something steady, almost quiet. Neither of us spoke of the past again. I didn't know if he still loved me, or if he still hated me. The boarding call came. Crowds surged toward the gate. "Wait." He stopped me, pulling a long, white box from behind his back. "For you." Inside was a small bouquet of delicate blue flowers, 5-petaled and shy. "What are these?" "Go. You'll miss your flight." He nudged me lightly. "Take care." He waved once, and then he was gone, swallowed by the crowd. It wasn't until I sat on the plane that I searched their name. Forget-me-nots. The meaning, eternal love. 2 years later, summer. The plane touched down in a city. I wheeled my suitcase through the terminal, breathing in the heavy heat of June. So much had changed. My father had died a month after I left. James Watson now ran the Watson Corporation, with my second uncle tucked away in a retirement home. As for Alex Ferrell, his scandals were everywhere. I didn't even have to look hard. But I'd made up my mind to stay clear of it all. Still, I had to admit it. He was a fool. I had followed his news from England. The old violent scandal had been quietly buried by PR, and the Ferrell heir had seemed to grow up. He was said to be reforming the family business, pushing for overseas ventures. A far cry from the reckless Playboy I had once known. No more scandalous headlines. No more reckless gossip. Had he really changed, become steadier, calmer? I wasn't so sure anymore, staring at the figure in front of me, red hair blazing, stride loud and unapologetic, shirt collar undone by 2 buttons as if rules were for other people. Well, Alex Ferrell took my suitcase as naturally as if it belonged to him, one brow cocked with that familiar swagger. In case you didn't recognize me, I dyed my hair back, just like the first time we met. I sighed, as if I could ever not recognize you. Heh. His lips curved, eyes glinting. Anyway, congratulations on graduating. Welcome back, Dustin Charles. His long legs carried him forward with a confident ease, body moving in smooth, fluid lines. I couldn't help staring. He felt it, frowned, and shot me a sideways glare. Brat, enjoying the view? You didn't even mention me in your graduation post. I spent a month in London with you for nothing? I laughed under my breath. I only wrote about classmates in the photo. But you're in my thesis acknowledgments, Alex. Oh, and what did you write? That the person I'm most grateful to, the one who changed my life. My voice softened. The professor asked me what he was to me. My boyfriend. Fuck. Alex rolled his eyes, his tone sharp, though the tips of his ears burned as red as his hair. Do you have to spill everything? The sunlight hit his profile, gilding it in hazy gold. Get in. He shut the trunk and opened the passenger door for me. We're going to my place tonight. What do you want to do? Play our graduation video, talk through all the things we never got around to saying? No, he cut me off flatly. My stories are boring. You'd fall asleep. Then a movie marathon, like old times? He shot me a glance. No. Pointless. All right then, just one night of actual sleep, peacefully, together. That's fine, right, Alex? You're doing this on purpose? His eyes darkened, fingers tapping restlessly on the steering wheel. You know damn well what I want to do with you. I let out a quiet laugh, half exasperated, half fond. As if I had a choice. You didn't need to ask. Fine. We've got all the time in the world now anyway. He shifted into gear, then glanced at me once more, softer this time. I love you. The end.
Thanks for stopping by. Subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos.